Hello, everyone. You're welcome to the second and concluding part of our interview with a wonderful, dynamic man from Nigeria called Uche Okugo. Uche Okugo is the investment attraction coordinator for Africa and Caribbean markets for the City of Brampton, a first of its kind portfolio. And in this portfolio, he's been able to coordinate and organize a number of activities, working in partnership with the government of Nigeria and Africa in general, as well as the Caribbean. In fact, only recently he came back from Jamaica, I think, where he went to on one of those visits. So he's a very busy man. It's a privilege to have him. And the first part of this interview, he shared his story. He only came into Canada 5 years ago in 2018. And within that period, he's had a lot of firsts. He had the privilege of being the president of the Rotary Club for the City of Brampton, where he lives and works. He also set up a foundation, an association, originally called Network of Nigerians in the GTA, which metamorphosed into Network of Nigerians in Canada. And then he was able to support the first of its kind flag raising event to commemorate Democracy Day in 2019, June 12th, for the City of Brampton. And he's also part of the team that is spearheading a similar effort now on the 2nd of October, which he represents, which is now province-wide. So there are lots of things that Uche has been able to do, and we're very proud of him. Today, he's going to be focusing more on his efforts and the City of Brampton's effort, where he operates and works, and the things he's been able to do. So you're welcome again, Uche. It's great to see you, and we look forward to having a wonderful time with you.
Great to be here, Emmanuel. Thank you.
Okay, so let's shoot. Earlier on, we said, you had the privilege of meeting the Nigeria High Commissioner for the flag raising event. Can you start from that, and also then tell us essentially what other things you're doing in the town of Brampton, because in the City of Brampton, because that was the first of its kind across Canada. But then my understanding is that you have done a lot of other things, and that the City of Brampton is actually very entrepreneurship friendly. Can you share with us what we should expect, even in your current role?
Okay, let me quickly start with the first question. In 2019, after the flag raising commemorating our Democracy Day, which was June 12, 2019, we got an invite from the High Commission in Ottawa because it was a pretty commemorative event, first of its kind. So it was in the media. So we went, we visited, spoke about NNC, talked about our initiatives, and also what we did was we presented the portrait that had the inscription of the proclamation to the High Commissioner. And it was a very, very beautiful event. We were well received. It showed the strides that members of the Nigerian community are doing as well. And after that engagement, of course, we hit the ground running in my endeavors, both as the president of the Rotary Club of Brampton and also in my current role as the FDI coordinator for the African Carribean Markets. Before I delve into the FDI role, because that is pretty much what is the bulk of the activities around what I do now. When I was president of the Rotary Club of Brampton, I focused on community economic development. It's one of the areas of focus of Rotary, and also a major area of focus of the City of Brampton. So it was just in sync. Towards the end, or rather pretty much the end of my tenure in office as president, the Rotary Club of Brampton was considering celebrating our 83rd anniversary, because we were founded in 1940. And so, having met the premier on a couple of occasions in different events prior, I met him on one of the events again, and I told him, listen, Rotary Club is doing this, and I'm the president. It would be nice if you could pop in. And he said, oh, he loves Rotary, and he knows about Rotary because he was a Rotarian. And so he said he would come if invited. And that was how the invitation process started. And so on the 12th of June, 2023, just a couple of months ago, we hosted Premier Doc Ford in our club as a special guest and our keynote speaker. And that was a very, a major event as well. The movers and shakers were there. There were people that were participating in that event because it was the first of its kind, the Rotary Club in Brampton hosting the premiere. And so it was really, really impressive. It was an event that was admired. We presented him a commemorative certificate as a speaker. I also, pinned him up with a special commemorative Rotary pin. It had End Polio Now on it because Canada as a government and my club too are pretty much supporters of the efforts to eradicate polio from the world that is still endemic in 2 nations. And so we hosted the premiere in that regard. And then, of course, down the line, I have done a couple of activities in and around Brampton, most of which I've also seen the mayor of Brampton participate. There were events that were hosted after the mayor came back from his trip to Nigeria. I did mention in the first part that even the mayor himself is very, prone to loving Nigeria. When he came back, he was wearing Nigerian attire sometimes as well. And so in that event we hosted at the City Hall, he was cladded in his traditional Nigerian attire. And he made that trip to Nigeria along with the then Councillor Shaman Williams, who is an MPP now. And as you can see, they were both cladded in their Nigerian attire as well. So that was pretty significant. And we've also had a couple of events where we hosted the mayor and also had him as a guest speaker, and in a couple of Nigerian community events that we've had. And down the line, when I assumed office as the Foreign Direct Investment Coordinator, I was formally introduced to the mayor and city council because, like I said, it's quite a unique role. And after that, the die was cast, as it were. We had to hit the ground running, marketing Brampton, letting businesses know what Brampton has to offer in terms of being open to foreign direct investments. Brampton is a lucky city. So what I do for the city is centered around marketing. And one of the things I know about Brampton is its proximity to the international airport. It's interesting because this is Canada's largest and busiest airport, the Pearson Airport, and Brampton is close to it. So I tell business owners, if you have expansion mindset, you can imagine if you are in Brampton and you have your business in New York, you can hop on the plane, fly for just an hour, do your business in New York, and be back on time in town to also continue your activities here like you never left. Time is important to businesses. And also because Brampton is right at the center of the Greater Toronto area. The population around here is about 10% or more of Canada's entire population. And also the GTA has about 50% of Ontario's population. It also has about 21 post-secondary institutions centered around the city of Brampton. So Brampton to these schools are all within an hour's drive. And these schools have half of Canada's graduates annually, and most of them stay back in the GTA. So for businesses, you have all these resources to research, to talent, to support, and to mobility. We're also close to Highway 401. It is North America's busiest highway, and it opens up to the entire 10 provinces and into the United States as well on the western end. And Brampton to one of the borders is just about an hour, 30 minutes. So again, as a business person, if you choose to go by road, you are close also to the borders. And Canada also has something significant that Brampton is projecting. We are part of the G7. And part of what we do in that G7 is we are the only G7 nation that has a trade agreement with all the G7 nations. So this gives Canada and indeed her businesses access to 65 nations, access to over 1.5 billion people, and access to multiple opportunities that abound. So doing business in Brampton gives opportunity to be part of this advantage that Canada presents. And also Brampton as a city is pretty unique in its own nature. We speak over 200 languages. We've got about over 100 cultures. And we are also the fastest growing big city in Canada. So 14,000 people actually come into Canada annually. And also Canada's population, Brampton's population right now is about 700,000. And this is projected to grow close to 1 million by 2040. And the city itself is beginning to prepare for that population growth. So you would see, real estate booming, you would see infrastructural development booming as well. And you will see the downtown core that houses our innovation district also booming. And we have thriving sectors from manufacturing to, medical technology, to food and beverage processing and packaging. We also have logistics. We have cybersecurity, and also we have information and technology that is booming as well. And there are programs that support businesses, whether it be startups for incubators or advanced startups, I call them, for accelerator programs. You have them in the city of Brampton as well. And statistically, the foreign direct investment market is about $1 trillion worth. And over half of that actually happens around here in North America.
Wow.
So it is important for businesses to take advantage of what we have here on offer to help them project into Canada and project, of course, into the Canadian market. Not forgetting that because my focus is on Africa and the Caribbean, you have 54 nations in Africa, you have 15 nations in the Caribbean. The population of that demographic is also growing in Canada. And if you break it down to what it is in Brampton, it is growing as well. Yeah. Just a few years ago, the Nigerian population was very small, but now the Nigerian population has grown to 4,500 in Brampton. The Black population in Brampton as well is growing. We are heading towards being 90,000 now. And of course, if you look at it generally, in Canada, you have over 300,000 people that identify as Black in Canada as well. Yeah. So this population is growing. And I know that, again, by 2040, it will be an explosion. Because only within the first 6 months, and I'm just picking a very small demographic out of this, right? Yeah. In the first 6 months of this year, you already had over 10,000 Nigerians migrate as permanent residents to Canada. Wow. So if you multiply this across the entire Black population, combining Africa and the Caribbean nations, you will see that demographic itself is growing. Yeah. So business-wise, Brampton has positioned itself uniquely. And as we often say, we are ready for business, we are open for business, and we mean business now.
Wow. There are two things I've heard, and maybe you can confirm. I understand that Brampton offers grants to businesses that are originally from Brampton, not for profits, about $5,000. I don't know how far that's true. And I also understand that Brampton has a unique solution to the startup visa program. Are this true, or is it just a rumor? Because there are lots of rumors flying out there. Maybe you want to talk to any of it.
Okay, so I wouldn't call it a unique solution. Okay. So we are in collaboration with the government. And so there is a visa stream called Startup Visa Program. This is mostly for startup businesses that have some sense of innovation behind them. That means their businesses, wherever it is, anywhere in the world, would do well if that business is in Canada as well. So once we pass them through the verification process, and this is with the Beehive, the partners we have here running that program in Brampton, businesses are purported to apply for the Startup Visa Program that also doubles as a permanent residency application process that covers your family as a founder or co-founder of a business. Yeah. And so with that program, you can come into Brampton, and then you can be part of our business incubator program under the Beehive program. Again, that supports you to further, be established on ground, understand the nitty-gritties, get taught the tricks of the trade, as it were, just so that your business will succeed when here in Brampton. And while you are here running through that program, the Economic Development Division of the City of Brampton actually has the Brampton Entrepreneur Center that provides support for businesses. And this support is for these startups as well as businesses in and around Brampton. Okay. So one thing they also help businesses do is check if your business qualifies for existing grants. That's where the grant comes in. So I know that there are grants for businesses that are introducing innovation to their business. There are grants for new businesses that are looking into establishing in Brampton in terms of having a brick and mortar location. That is under our community improvement plan. There are grants to that effect that also helps with property taxes and office equipment and onboarding staff. And then also by extension at the provincial level, there are grants that are tailored to businesses in different aspects. You could be into innovation, you could be into manufacturing, you could be into supporting the youth or women in business or in technology, you could be into food processing or agriculture. There are different streams and different qualifying criteria. So these grants exist for businesses. You simply have to, look for the one that you fit into, that you qualify for, and apply for it. And the sum of the grant ranges. These grants range from $2,500 to $25,000. And by extension, if you're a bigger business, of course, the government at the federal level has a different way of supporting your business. For example, recently we got an expansion that is going on with the Stellantis group. These are the guys that manufacture the Chrysler cars that we see around town. So they are currently retooling part of their plant such that by 2025, they will start manufacturing battery electric cars.
Yes.
Also, you have Magna, one of the world's leading vehicle parts manufacturer.
Yeah.
They just acquired a very large facility, 490,000 square feet of facility, where they would also be manufacturing battery encasements for electric vehicles.
Wow.
So this level of investments have attracted the federal government support as well.
Okay.
And there are many others, also happening around Brampton. So yes, there is a startup visa program, and yes, there are grants that are available that through what we do and through our Brampton Entrepreneur Center, we can help businesses avail themselves of these opportunities so that they would excel.
One of the reasons why your story is exciting for me is that hopefully, and right now, especially with our new administration in Nigeria, we can start moving the discussion from seeking aid to actually ways in which you can trade with these organizations, because we don't lack opportunities, we don't lack potential as Nigerians. We probably just need the right leadership and the right opportunities. And with people like you blazing the trail, helping to open the doors, positioning well, and showing the better part of who Nigerians are, I'm sure it's only a matter of time before we're recognized as a formidable nation that actually provides different kinds of opportunities, positive things, even for the world in which we live. I know that our music industry is booming. Almost everywhere I go in Canada, I hear, what's it called? Black Afrobeats. Afrobeats is hitting the rocks. But the good thing is that Nigeria is much more than Afrobeats. And thanks to people like you, I'm sure that the future will be bright. So thank you very much, Uche, for your story. I hope somebody is inspired. If people want to follow you on LinkedIn, what's your LinkedIn? What's your link? Maybe they can follow you. Can you share what your LinkedIn profile is? And then potentially, I don't know if you're on Instagram, but I think LinkedIn will be a very good place to catch you.
Okay, so I'll quickly answer that and touch on something you mentioned earlier. So if people are on LinkedIn, they could just search for me with my full name, Uche George Okugo. That's UCHE, first name, middle name George, George, and last name Okugo, Okugo. They'll get me. You see the gentleman on suit. And then same thing, on other social medias, it's basically my first name and my last name.
Okay.
It's a good thing you touched on trade and not aid on the African continent. And one thing I know that the African continent is doing that is a right step in the right direction now is with the Africa Continental Free Trade Agreement. It is in force. It started a couple of years ago. A couple of nations in Africa are actually, in line with it. It was signed by the African Union. So I know that down the line it's going to be a big deal. So smart nations are beginning to realign themselves as to how their relationship with the African continent will be once that is fully enforced. And Canada is not left out in this as well. So some of us have been part of the think tank that have been putting heads together to see how collectively we can ensure that the relationship continues to blossom and continues to favor both parties. So when I do my business looking for foreign direct investment into Brampton, I let businesses know that this is a function of partnership. We're not asking you to get up and leave. We're asking you to expand. Expansion simply means you're somewhere, you're just stretching yourself into another location. And that is how we market our businesses. So it to be mutually beneficial. So yes, we are supporting that trend as well. And I'm beginning to work on accesses to current government, just so that we can better position Nigerians in Canada and the city of Brampton and what we do for a more mutually beneficial relationship. So yeah, I guess down the line, you get to know more about that.
Sounds good. We look forward to hearing that. And I personally, I'm looking forward to that because I have the privilege of leading the Alliance of Nigerian Entrepreneurs, where we also provide a platform for Nigerian businesses, and it will be welcome to hear of many opportunities that your likes and other people are doing to promote the best of Nigerians in diaspora. So thank you very much. And it's been nice hearing from you, and we wish you the best on your role. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Emmanuel.
Yeah.
Thank you, everyone. Bye.
Bye.